Why is the Games Award show in early December instead of early January? I'll give you a second to think about it. Advertising, marketing, you are absolutely correct. When you're buying things for people and for yourself, I mean, it's November and December, man. This is when people are making choices to buy stuff. So as much as it doesn't make sense that the Game Award show is still in 2017 when they're handing out awards like hotcakes, right? I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. So a lot of these companies will start advertising on the Game Awards, and the Game Awards show will kind of create categories like best Chinese video game? Okay, sure. Yeah, I mean, some countries have their own award. Most don't. But a couple do. So sure, my guess is China really wants to market their games. And Jeff Keighley said, well, let's create a new category that you will for sure win because you're the only contender. And all of a sudden these Chinese game companies are like, all right, we're going to advertise with Jeff Keighley now. But people want to capitalize off of this stuff. There's no point in a company's perspective. There's no point in participating in an award show if they can't sell or market their product even more. So the stuff happens in early December so that video game companies can advertise and can put more money into it, and the Game Awards show makes more money, right? That's number one. The award show makes more money because companies are willing to spend more money because this is the time where people are actually buying games. But there's a bit of a conflict of interest that comes with that. Like, you've got people paying in, and they really want people to buy their game. And you are an award show that's supposed to be 100% objective, right? Or you give fans their input, which I know Jeff Keighley does. And I think he does a fine job at that. And this is not a knock on Jeff Keighley. I think what he has created is actually really cool. It's something akin to the Oscars, essentially. I think that's what it will turn into years down the road. The amount of advertisements and trailers and announcements and things that were going on the show, it was kind of mind-boggling. It was like okay, we'll do an award or two, and sometimes he'll rattle off like 3 awards in like less than a minute. And then it's like, all right, for the next 10 minutes, we're watching some trailers, and you're being straight up advertised to, just like directly. Here is an ad, here is a commercial. And of course, everyone gets excited because, I don't know, they're excited to watch a commercial. It's for a game that they might be interested in, so it totally makes sense. By the way, Death Stranding, what is that? What is happening? What am I watching? Also, how is the game going to be played? Like, I've seen tons of cool cutscenes, but what am I going to be doing when I play this game eventually, right? Gotta say I'm interested in it, but that was like a highlight for me, but not necessarily for the right reasons. It was kind of like a, what is this kind of highlight? Honestly, probably Legend of Zelda DLC. That could have been a highlight too, but that also came with its own kind of issues for me. It's not that I had this expectation that we were going to get some post-game content, or I just thought it was going to be bigger. Whatever it was going to be, I thought we were going to be introduced to a new part of the map or a new cave or island or something like that. I thought that there was going to be a little bit more story type stuff going on there, but Nintendo doesn't really do that, as we are well aware at this point. They put stuff in, and it's all gameplay, right? So if you want a DLC from Nintendo, you're not going to get a new story. Likely you're going to get new gameplay within the same story and within the same world and everything else, right? Nintendo has not been in the DLC business for all that long. So I find it very interesting the way they're doing things here. But anyways, we're not just talking about Breath of the Wild, although it did win Game of the Year, the Game of the Year award. So congrats to Nintendo. We had the opportunity a little while ago. I kind of want to bring this up just briefly. We were making a video with a large video game developer that was meant to be shown at the Game Awards. This was about 2 years ago. It was our Shadow Complex video. So we were working with some people from Epic Games and Chair Entertainment, the guys who make Infinity Blade and Spyjinx and that kind of stuff. So they wanted this Shadow Complex video to be shown at the Game Awards, and it ended up being a bit ambitious of a project for us. The video wasn't done in time, and so we didn't end up showing it at the Game Awards, but we did get to kind of pick some brains and figure out exactly how the Game Awards show is run. And Jeff Keighley, you guys, Jeff does basically everything himself. He spends all year putting this what was it, 3 hours, 4 hours? It was a long show. He needs to shorten it, by the way. I know he wants to cram every advertiser that wants to advertise. He wants to put them into the show, but I think it's getting a little bit much. I think he needs to pare back a bit, maybe 2.5 hours. But going over 3, that was a bit much. So anyways, Jeff Keighley is doing this all basically by himself, and he's only been doing it for a few years, but I gotta say that I'm impressed overall. When I look at the Game Awards and what is happening there, I'm impressed. I like it as much as I like award shows, and I don't like award shows. Like, I really don't. So I'm not crazy about it. But the fact that it exists and it's about video games and, you know, everybody gets to clap and pat themselves on the back, and you get people like Hideo Kojima and Eiji Aonuma and like all the big names in video games, they come out to this show. And they know a lot of respect for anybody that can get these people out. That more than anything is why I think this show is going to become what the Oscars is in time. Because they're able to get the big names to come out. And I don't know exactly how he does it. I don't know if he's promising things to people. I don't know. I know for the big awards that it's relatively objective as far as the fan input and, you know, what he's trying to do. Like, I'm not accusing him of, like, running a shady business or anything. It's shady, the nature of it. Every company wants to sell, but he can create a new category, and then they can win that category, and that's fine. But it doesn't really interfere with everything else, with the Game of the Year, Best Direction, Best Adventure Game, Best, you know, Shooter, all that kind of stuff. Like, that doesn't change, despite the fact that there is a Best Chinese Game out there as well. It's funny. Now, PUBG, the fact that it was even on there, I find extremely interesting. As far as what I was talking about before, with, you know, you got some advertisers, they want to push their product. PUBG is essentially still in beta, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this game is not ready yet. It isn't completely done. Now, I'm very well aware of how fun this game may be to play. I have seen people, I've watched a lot of streams and I've watched a lot of people play this game. I personally have not played it. It seems like fun. If I have an hour to kill and I just want to do like a 60-person deathmatch like the Hunger Games and just see how long I can survive, sure, that's something I may go for. The fact that it was in the Game of the Year contention is interesting to me because the game isn't out yet, and as the game has its like official final release, I believe sometime next year, because of not only the exposure they're getting on Twitch and YouTube gaming and, you know, the streaming platforms, but also because of the Game Awards, the fact that they were even nominated for Best Video Game is, you know, that's something that's going to help sell some copies when the game finally is ready for mass consumption. Horizon Zero Dawn. A lot of people, I know a lot of you really felt like Horizon Zero Dawn should have won that. They made a bit of a mistake, I think, coming out. I believe it was either the week before or the week after the Switch and Breath of the Wild came out. Like, they can release whenever they want, but I do believe that hurt them in the long run. You go up against Nintendo, it's like Disney. When Disney says, "Hey, we're putting Star Wars out on December 15th," right? If you are a kind of a smaller company, right? And even if you're backed by Sony or whoever it was, if you are going up against Disney, Star Wars, like one of Disney's flagship films, and you're going to release basically that same day or that same week, you're going to be overlooked. It's going to happen. There's nothing, that's the way of the world. And I'm sorry, but that's how it is. You're going to be overlooked. And the fact that after the announcement was made that they didn't push the game back or forward, I know Nintendo was really cryptic and no one knew when that thing was going to come out. They did it way too fast. I'm sure that, you know, Guerrilla Games or Horizon, the Horizon team or Sony, I'm sure that none of them were at that point capable of changing things up a little bit. But that game came out too close to when a similar game that was made by the most famous game developer in the world and one of their flagship games kind of came out. So unfortunate for them because Horizon Zero Dawn really does have a lot to offer. Of these games, I actually have not played Mario Odyssey or PUBG. I haven't personally played those. I did not personally play Horizon Zero Dawn either, though I was with Mike while he was playing it, and I got to really experience the game, albeit in a different way, so I won't really judge that. Persona 5, I mentioned I played as well. Of these games, the only one that I beat, outright completed, was Breath of the Wild. So I'm not really at liberty to kind of say which one of these should have won, because I only beat one of them. It was great. I am happy that it won. As happy as you can be, I guess. It was a great game. But I don't know as much what these other games have to offer as far as the breadth of you know, what they have to offer. So, that being said, I just kind of wanted to touch on Game of the Year right there because that was more or less the big category. So here's the mentality you go into with an award show. It's, you have an idea of what you think should win, right? And you're not watching the award show to find out which game was the best game. No, I mean, maybe not nobody, but very few people go into an award show like this and say, oh, we got to find out which one was the best, which one was the best game. No, they already know. You guys likely already had in your minds what the game of the year was or should have been. You were only watching that award show, if you watched it, to have your ideas confirmed, your biases confirmed. And if they were confirmed, then you were, oh, good, I knew it was going to. Oh, I knew it was going to. Who else even was there, right? I mean, obviously. But if you're wrong, now you're mad. Something unjust just happened. Your game should have won, right? I mean, why would the game you like not have won? Why did some other game that maybe you didn't like as much, why would that game win? And so then people get really mad. So especially when it's Nintendo, people love to hate Nintendo. So when I talk about conflict of interest, you've got an advertiser who is advertising on your award show, and also there are some awards being handed out. Now, it will look bad if the advertiser doesn't win or does win that award, right? So if Nintendo was unveiling their DLC, and it almost seemed like Nintendo had planned this. They knew Breath of the Wild is Game of the Year. They knew this ahead of time. Now, whether that's because of some inside deal, probably not. Or if it's just because they knew they made a really good game. And this is one of the home runs that Nintendo has been in this game industry for long enough that they know when they've nailed it. They know when they have, knocked it out of the park. And so sure, they had planned that they were going to win something, and it was probably going to be Game of the Year. And so it just looks a little interesting when they win it, and then they're such a big part of the show, and they're advertising on the show, and they gave so much money to this person who's giving awards out, and he gives them that award. But not just the conflict of interest there, because then if the advertiser doesn't win the award, well, are they going to advertise with you next year, Geoff Keighley? I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. They probably will. Most people understand how this stuff goes, but a lot of people also expect to win something if they're going to be paying in a lot of money. And my guess is they're spending a lot of money on this production. Like, these advertisers are really paying in. So the crazy French dude, all right, I want to talk about this for a little bit, because when it comes to conflict of interest, one of the things is, okay, did the advertiser win the award? That's a thing that you have to ask yourself when, dealing with award shows like this where advertisers are being given awards. It's weird, but the guy can't even remember the game he was talking about, but he starts talking about other award shows, the Oscars, right? He used to be a filmmaker of sorts. Also, he kind of calls out EA by name and kind of dumps on one of their terrible practices. It's obviously a controversy that he felt that he could kind of latch himself onto and really relate to the fans. And it worked to some extent. But to a large extent, he's kind of, an EA ad played just a little bit later. And they try and say, hey, you guys, buy Battlefront 2. This game's actually really good. And there was a guy on the show talking bad about EA. And I've got to wonder, is EA going to be upset that Geoff Keighley allowed that to happen? That he had somebody on who was going to say, and I know the guy was very modest. He wasn't modest. He wasn't modest at all. He was modest about his disdain for EA because he said EA's been very good to him. He actually appreciates a lot of what EA does, and every company screws up, right? That was kind of his big message here. But EA screwed up. Like, he definitely made sure that that was very well understood. And so, how do you think EA is going to respond in maybe next year's Game Awards? Are they going to pay as much money? This stuff is all about turning a profit. I know it's a cool award show and it's fun to have it and all this stuff, but the reason people are so critical of these award shows is because the people putting them together are making a lot of money. And maybe they shouldn't be making a lot of money off of this kind of stuff from the people who are being nominated for these awards, because that's a massive conflict of interest. The awards that are being handed out, those are the advertisements, right? Those are, this company won this award, these people won this award, this production team, this distributor, these people won these awards, and that is the advertising. So it's interesting when we are being advertised to, when what we are watching, when you boil it down, in essence is one massive advertisement, just a huge advertisement to you. Look at all these games. Oh, look at this game beat this game, and look at this game, and this one's out now, and here's a trailer for this game. And it just becomes so overwhelming. It becomes crazy. It's maddening to me to kind of deal with it all, because so much stuff got announced then, but a lot of it is stuff I just really didn't care about. Anyways, I just love it. In the end, it's cool that an award show exists. It's cool that there are, in the industry we care about, right? Video games. That it is slowly being taken more and more seriously by more and more people. And that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. That is ultimately a wonderful thing. But I got issues with the way it's currently being done. As much as I admire Jeff Keighley, and he's doing this all himself, and dude, it is a massive undertaking to put this one show together, and it takes him the whole year. In the end, yeah, it's got its flaws, but it's cool. And I like that the award show exists, and I hope that it only gets better. And the best way that it's going to get better is through us kind of pointing out where some of the faults lie. And hopefully some of that stuff can be fixed, and maybe the next award show is going to be even better. And Jeff, he's only been doing this for a little while. He's got a long time ahead of him. Ultimately, I'm excited. Guys, tell me what you think. What do you think about the people who won the awards? Who do you think should have won? Who do you think shouldn't have won? Leave comments in the section below. What do you think of, the thing I want to know the most, what do you think of award shows in general? Like, what's the point of an award show? What is the point? Seriously, what's the point? Tell me down in the comment section below. You guys are awesome. Freaking love you. We'll be back with a podcast Wednesday morning, and y'all are beasts. Peace out.